Hello, everyone. My name is Javi, and if you don't know who I am, I help credit and funding companies scale. And why do I know so much about the subject? Well, I ran my funding company and took it all the way to 350K per month, actually. And last year we did about $2.1 million in revenue. And now I created just this YouTube channel specific to help others do the same that I did, implement the same strategy that I did. So if you want to learn and use the same strategies, systems that I use to scale my company, this is exactly what this YouTube channel is for. I hope you guys get a lot of value out of it. And this video, we're going to cover something that's not really talked a lot. We always talking about, oh, the new ads, the new landing pages, the new VSL, hire, fire, a bunch of stuff that is, it's not always the best things to look at. Once you have something going, let's say like if you're already doing 50K per month, 100K per month, you could also not, instead of just focusing on new ads and new creatives and the new landing page and all the stuff, we could focus on just KPIs. And by just focusing at KPIs, we could dramatically increase our income without no new ads, without no new funnels, without a new setter, without new salesmen, with no new tactics. It's just changing little increments of percentages inside your business. This is why it's very important to start tracking your data. Once you have your data tracked, now we could pretty much have more control of the business. Remember, what you can track, you can measure, you can control. I got that from Myron Golden, and it's so true. Ever since I started tracking my data, that's when I really started scaling fast. This happened to me about 2 years ago. I wasn't really heavy into tracking data, and now I'm obsessed with it. Now I know if I track data, that's exactly the reason why I'm able to grow. So let's jump into it. So this is a 1% tracker that I created for me and my community, my inner circle, which explains pretty much that small increments could have a dramatic impact in your business. Now, let me zoom in a little bit more. This is pretty much the whole tracker. It kind of just gives you how much you can make monthly, annually, profits and loss, your cost per acquisition, cost per fulfill. It's a very unique tracker, but I'm gonna focus more on a few of the metrics on the top, and I'm gonna run it through you real quick. So this is 1,000 leads that came into your business, right? We have 1,000 leads coming into your business, right? Okay. At a 6% booking rate. So pretty much out of 1,000 people come in, how many people you book? Let's say you book at 6%, which is fairly low. Okay. Now, out of that 1,000 people that DM you or visit your website, whatever it may be, you book 60%. So let's say you got 60 bookings, right? At a no-show rate out of 10%, which is this also like very, very good. Like we have usually like a 10 to 5% no-show up rate, especially if you use our system. Everybody almost shows up to the call. Okay, so that will leave us with 54 book calls. Okay, so we lost around six calls, which is totally fine. Rebooks percentage, I'm not gonna put this in here, but just follow me through. Now, let's say you took those 54 calls and you have a 20% closing rate, which is pretty bad as well. Now, with a 20% closing rate, you get 11 deals closed at 5K minimum. That means you made 54,000 at a half cash collected, at least a 50% cash collected. That means you're cash collecting 3K per deal or paid in full, depending on it is. So we're averaging $32,000 of profits. I mean, of cash collected. And if we cut that by 50%, usually honestly, if you're operating by yourself, you should be operating on a 70 to 80% profit margin. But if you already have a sales team and setters and fulfillment, it should be at least at a 50% profit margin. So you're taking home, let's say 16 grand, which honestly, if you're only doing 10 sales a month, you shouldn't have a sales team. You should just be maybe a setter. And maybe you're still doing your own fulfillment a little bit, or maybe you're hiring somebody. But let's say you're profiting 50%. I will honestly say a little bit higher than that. Especially at this revenue, you should start hiring a setter a setter around 30 to 50K, a closer around 100K, I would say. Okay, so those are the stats. Now, let's see when we move little stuff, how much more money we make, right? So one of the first metric we want to improve is to get to the 7% booking rate, right? So once we're 70% booking rate, instead of getting 60 calls, we're getting, hold on, let me change this. We're getting 70 calls because it's 10%, right? Now at I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a 7% out of 1,000 DMs, right? So 1,000 DMs or leads come into your business. You book at a 7% instead of a 6%. Now you're at 70% at a 10% no-show rate. 64 people show up. You lost a 6%, right? Now we've talked to 64 people. At a 20% closing rate, you're still closed 13 people. So we're closing two more than this other column. So that means now we made $64,000 in rev. We cash collected 38,000 and we profited 20 grand. Again, this is 50%, extremely conservative. If you're by yourself running the business, it should be at 60, 70 or up. I'm saying 50% if you have pretty much have a full team running, okay? That means appointment setter, sales, and fulfillment, okay? So that's that. So we made an extra profit. We made almost an extra 4 grand, 3 grand almost, right? In revenue, we made an extra 10 grand, right? And cash collected, we made an extra 6 grand by just increasing the lead percentage booked by 1%. That's all we changed. All we did is focus on the leads that we have in our plate, the leads right in front of us. How do we increase from 6 to 7%? That's all we did that month. If you looking at this tracker right now and you have a 6% close lead to booking rate, be like, okay, this entire month I'm just going to focus on getting more book calls, right? We're gonna get it into a 7%, which is still pretty low. You should get it to a 8 to 10%. That should really be what you'll be playing at, okay? So a 7%. Now, if we also increase our closing rate to a 30%, because honestly 20% is horrendous. All of you should be hovering at a bare minimum of 30%. If you're not hovering at least at 30%, dear God, good thing that we have at my community. Go to my community where we have a lot of extensive curriculums in sales. Brush up on your sales, on high ticket selling, especially for funding. Get your closing rate up to at least 30%, right? Now, as soon as I click enter and we hit 30% closing rate that month, now look how much more money we made. We almost doubled our revenue. So we went from a $54,000 in revenue to a $96,000 in revenue. We went from 32 cash collected to $57,000 cash collected, right? We went to 16K in profit to $28,000 in profit. Remember, this is just in 1 month, 1 week, depending how the timeline that you average in this data, right? And again, let me add, this only 50%, okay? So this is just little small things that you need to be, either way, this is a KPI you should be doing. If you're hovering at 6% and a 20% of closing rate and you're still making money, hallelujah, God bless you, you're making some money. And I have some people in the program that are at this level. Awesome, you guys are making some money. 16 grand a month is unbelievable, especially profit, life-changing money. Like, I'm not gonna discourage that, but what I want to show you guys is that to everyone is, if you just make small increments and small improvement, your business could almost double. Literally, the business could literally double by making small increments. What's another thing that we could do for we can make more money? Instead of charging 5K, we could do 6K. Which is what when I was doing 300K a month in my funding company and going hard and trying to reach as much as possible, we're setting at 6K. So just changing the price to maybe 6K, getting 1% bigger from 6% to 7%, and getting a 10% more in closing rate, we're already making more than double of cash collected revenue. We pretty much just double the business without new ads, without new landing pages, without like you hiring a crazy salesman that has to close at 50% or a new VSL or whatever it may be. There's literally no extra cost to the company by you doubling your revenue. Again, you're doubling your revenue, you're doubling your business profit by only moving little small thing at no extra cost. This is not costing you anything to do this. You just gotta do it. This is work-based. This is KPI-based. This is internal-based. This means that if you're not hitting this KPI, you suck. You need to hit KPIs, right? And this is honestly a little bit low, except for the 30%. In reality, we should be moving this at 8 to 10%. That should be the reality. Industry standards is almost at 10, right? But let's say we do get to 8%. If we do get to 8%, now we're making 133,000, cash collecting 66, profiting 33. Look at the difference. Huge difference. Now, if we go to actually industry standards, we should be around 10%. Now we almost tripled the business. If we go from 6% lead to booking call to just 10%, we're making 170 grand a month. And look, I know a lot of you guys are actually, I want to do I just want to do 100 grand per month, 100 grand per month, 100 grand per month. We could do 100 grand per month at 7% pretty much. We just have to have the 30% closing rate. Hell, you can keep it at 6%. I mean, you're shy $3,000 pretty, but whatever. You're shy $3,000, almost 100K a month. Everything stayed the same. Same ad, same book, everything is the same, but you actually got better at sales. You got to a 30% closing rate. If you get to a 30% closing rate, you will hit 100K months. It's just math, everyone. It's literally just math. That's why once we know our cost per acquisition, once we know all this stuff, it becomes math. And then once you're confident in your sales skills, then since it's just math, it just makes sense. An example I could give you guys: if my cost per book call is $200, I spend $2,000 to get 10 people in front of me. Now I'm at 30% closing rate, and maybe 10% doesn't show up. So we got 10 people. I spent $2,000 to speak to 10 people. We have a 10% no-show, so not one person will show up. Now we have 9. Now we have a 30% closing rate. I'm going to close out of those 9, 3 people. They're all going to give me $3K down. Now I spent $2K for 3 people to give me $3K down. Now I'm at $9K, right? And then we do that again and again and again. And we can do that every day, every week, or every month, depending how the time frame are you doing those numbers, right? We could get multiple sales in one day. We could get multiple sales in a week. Or we could get multiple sales in a month, depending how, where you're at. But this is just showing you how small increments makes just a dramatic difference in your business, right? Now, if we are KPIs, which should be 10%, look how much we're making. We're almost hitting $170,000 per month by actually hitting industry standards, which should be 10% at least, right? If you don't hit 10%, it's okay. I go up and down from 8%. Some months I've been at 12, to be honest. But let's say you just move it to an 8%, which I feel that's what you guys should be. 8 to 10% is the magic number, and a 30% closing rate. And of course, you got to get 1,000 leads to come in. How much is 1,000 leads to come in? You got to be spending at least $150 a day, $200 a day, maybe $300 a day. You will be getting at least 1,000 leads a day. Okay, so this is the 1% tracker, and this is how we scale, or not scale here. This is how we scale our company by not creating new ads or raising the ad budget, because another thing that we could do is just raise the ad budget, but this is internal KPIs. And if you know your KPIs, your key performing indicators, and you know exactly what to aim for, and you literally have, okay guys, so for last month we did 6% lead to booking rate percentage. We need to get to 7%, or we need to get to 8%, and then just make it a company goal to get to 8% lead to booking percentage. And that should be your main metric. And also, honestly, before working on this metric, the main KPI I will always work on, especially if you're always starting off, is the sales. So always get the sales to 30%. Like, you could make a little bit of money at 20%, but you're gonna be it's not the best, because you're gonna, out of 10 people, you're closing only 2. If you're closing 3, then you're guaranteed not to be profitable. Like, if you're closing people at 30%, then there's no way that you're not profitable. There's no way, unless there's no way. We've done the math 1,000 times. There's no way that if you're booking at 8 to 10% closing lead to send percentage, and you're closing at least 30%, there's no way that you're not profitable. So if you want to be profitable and extremely profitable, at least at a 50 to 60 to 70%, you need a 30% closing rate, and that's all you need. Then if you want to increase different things, is the lead to call percentage, the no-show. Well, this, if you use our strategies and templates and pretty much our funnel, like, you should have a high no-show. Sometimes we get like a 5%, like, just everybody showing to the call, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But the things that we cannot control is you booking the leads, which is this. You actually put in the time to book the leads, and then you actually working on your sales skills to actually get that 30% closing rate, which will completely transform your business, okay? Which then will lead into your life. All right, so I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this video. Again, I help credit and funding companies scale. If you need a community of all this information, you can click the link below. We have a community that has over 130 hours of detailed content just like this, just speaking to the credit and funding company, helping them scale to the 6 figures. Or if you're already making the 10, 15, 20K a month and you want to work one-on-one and you want us to help you scale your business to 7 figures a year or 50K per month or 100K per month, click the link below, book a call with a one-on-one with me and my team, and we'll help you scale. If not, it's all cool. It's all good. That's why I'm giving you guys all this free content on YouTube so you guys can internalize it, get yourself to 5, 10, 15K a month. And then if you decide to join either my community or my high ticket inner circle, by all means, I would love to have you guys and help you scale to 7 figures yearly. Until then, hope you got a lot of value. I'll see you guys on the next video.